Another episode of our ultimate compression and compressors guide. In this video, what everybody was waiting for, what everybody drools over, the best, most expensive analog mastering compressors and special units. Let's get to it. Hello everyone, welcome back to MixbusTv. Hope you're having a great day. Before we start, check the info box down below for my mixing courses on ProMix Academy, special discounts and offer on plugins. And now if you want to become a MixbusTv member, support the channel, click the join button, see all the perks. You can access to exclusive content like members only posts, videos, live chats, Pro Tools sessions and files to download, and also mix consultation via email or Skype with me. Let's get to the video. The best, most expensive, no compromise analog mastering compressors. I put at number one a beautiful unit that I had the chance to work with, and it's the Elesia Alpha compressor. For a little more than 10 grand, you get this absolutely beautiful sounding mastering compressor, no compromise. This is the Elesia flagship, and it could easily be the only compressor you have in a mastering rig. It can handle everything, any genre, any song. Pristine sounding, incredible fine-tuned, and total control over every aspect of the action of the compression. A ton of feature, feedback and forward modes, so transparent and so organic, the kind of compression this unit gives you, and so high quality, such a sheen that is really hard to describe. It has an incredibly tweakable internal side chains, which what makes it so versatile and so unique sounding, because you can literally tailor it to react to the material in any way you want. It has transformer options for color if you want to add a little bit of color. This completely transparent unit is stereo mid-side, and it also has a very good sounding tilt EQ on board. And the secret weapon in this unit, which is also to some extent in the plugin, the magic soft clipping function. This compressor is really a masterpiece. It's pricey, but it's absolutely outstanding, and even the plugin is impressive. Number two, this is probably the more eye-catching of all of them, and of course it's the Shadows Hill mastering compressor. For almost 8K, you can bring this home. I worked with this compressor several times, and it's a great unit. It's basically two compressors in one. You have a VCA side, which is basically an SSL on steroids, and then an opto side. So you can use it, of course, in combination. You can use one. It's a great sounding unit, but you definitely pay a little bit for the wow factor. You definitely pay a little bit for the aesthetic. It's very common to see this one used both in mixing and mastering rigs. It's a Class A unit, and it has some really nice coloring features, as most Shadows Hill's gear. This one has 3 different transformers that you can pick and choose to add colors, so 3 different colors. Other than that, everything else is pretty much standard. It has variable attack and release for the VCA section, high pass filter. It's all switches like in every mastering grade compressor, and the switches are expensive. So every time you see 2 versions of the same compressor, one is mix and one is mastering, is a big price difference. Mostly is because of the switches. There are also a couple of plugin emulation for this one. UAD makes one. I'm not a gigantic fan of it, but I also didn't use it that much. And SK Note makes another one that I reviewed a long time ago, and it was a pretty fun plugin to use. Number 3, you see this one in mastering rigs all the time. It's an amazing sounding compressor. It's the Tubetech SMC2BM. M as in mastering version, of course, because there's also a mixed version. This one is a multiband optical compressor. It is used for 2-bus compression as well by many engineers, and it's an incredible sounding unit. It's all tubes, 3 bands, multiband, variable crossover. This is a clean unit, yet it does have some kind of tube sheen. If you're familiar with Tubetech gear, CL1B and so on, you will know what I'm talking about. The Tubetech gear has that high-end sheen that is unique to them, and this one is really nice sounding. It's not that easy to set up like as any hardware multiband compressor, but if you know how to use it, it takes you places. I don't think there's any other opto multiband compressor on the market, so this one really sounds like nothing else, and the fact that it's an old tube add to it. I would describe its sounds as polished. You can also use it to EQ with a makeup gain in different bands, so it's really a versatile and great sounding unit. For a little more than 6K you can get it, and I think it's special order only for the mastering version. Number 4, I think, is the SPL Iron Mastering Compressor. I never tried this one myself. I saw it at NAMM and that was pretty much it. It's one of the latest release in the big mastering compressors market, but it quickly became very popular in mastering houses for various reasons. SPL was well known, still is, for making great mastering grade units in general. They have the 120 volts technology that they use in their transfer custom consoles that, for example, Aui Weinberg uses. And those consoles are a thing of beauty. The headroom they have is absolutely insane. Talk about secret of mastering, those are one of them for sure. And most people don't know when they see the transfer console is not just a routing piece of gear that helps you route all your gear. Is actually big part of the sound of a mastering engineer or a mastering house, because how hard you can drive the inputs and outputs on those things. And the 100 volts technology SPL has is basically double what everybody else has. This compressor has that too. The Iron, you can see it from the specs, is an extremely versatile modern tube compressor with twin tube topology and 6 different rectifier circuits inside. When you couple this with the several preset EQ for the sidechain, you can see it gives you such a wide array of sounds and versatility and action for the compression, the way it reacts to the material. So this is definitely a very versatile mastering compressor. And also it gives you a lot of options for colors, which is not common in mastering compressors. This unit also has a polishing passive EQ with 2 settings, air and bass lift, and a tape roll-off that emulates basically the response of tape machines. So they packed a lot in one unit. A lot of versatility for action, for color, for tailoring the compressor. Definitely impressive. And of course, all this wrapped into the 120 volts technology that gives you an insane high headroom and very, very low noise. The next one I'm looking at it myself, I've been looking at it myself for quite a bit, is the Rupert Neve Master Bus Processor. I would put this into not just the mastering compressor, but the special unit, because it does a lot more than compression. This unit now is very, very common in mastering houses, and for a reason. It's basically a VCA compressor, smooth class A, that is both very easy to use and very versatile. It has high pass filter, it has the texture silk and blue, which I'm very familiar with because they are the same that I have in my tape emulator from Neve. It has both RMS or peak detection and a blend knob. The unique feature of this unit though is the stereo field editor, and that's what caught my attention, and that's why I actually want it myself. If you're familiar with Dr. MS, the Matthew Lane plugin, you will recognize some of those controls in the audio field editor. And to have those features, stereo field manipulation in the analog world, is pretty cool. I can tell you firsthand because here I have my Drummer 1976, the multiband saturator and multiband stereo widener. So I know how analog stereo manipulation works firsthand, and it's pretty cool. It's different than with plugins. So this is definitely a cool unit. And whoever used the Dr. MS plugin and then take a look at this unit in the audio field section, you know immediately what kind of tricks you can do. Of course, you use it subtly, but it makes a big difference. So here you have saturation, color, dynamic control, stereo field editor, a very unique combination of processes, great for both mix and mastering. This one will set you back $4 grand. Next one is the Mali Slam mastering version. By removing the preamp section, adding switches, and many other mastering-oriented features on this, the Mali Slam is one of the main piece of gear for mastering. I would dare to say is probably one of the best kept secrets, so to speak, for certain things. The Shadow Hill mastering compressor definitely took inspiration from this unit that has both the opto section, the ELOP, and in the case of the Mali, a FET section, each one having 5 different settings in the mastering version. But that's not all of it. Between clipping, limiting, and additional expansion for a DAC card, this unit is heavy artillery for mastering and I would say good sounding loudness, let's put it this way. It's almost 9K for the mastering version, so not for the faint of heart. We already mentioned this one in the PWM compressors list, but there cannot be a mastering compressor list without the Crane Song STC8 in this case the mastering version, because it's one of the most used in the field. You see it in so many mastering rigs, and we have been seeing it in mastering rigs forever. If you want to know more about the STC compressor, the PMW technology, watch the PMW analog video. But Cranesong also came out not long ago with another compressor that started to pop up a lot in mastering rigs, which is the Titan. That is a mono unit. You need two. I never personally tried it, but as far as I know, it is basically a transparent, digitally controlled compressor, so totally transparent, but it also has a lot of function to add color to it, to shape the curve of the compression. And it's Cranesong, so you know it's gonna be great. And like I said, it started to pop up a lot in pair because it's mono in mastering rigs. Even though you need a pair, it's still a cheaper alternative for pretty much all the other high-end mastering compressor. And between the dynamic color, it has the VCA color, the shape control. You can tailor the Titan to pretty much everything, and you can make it as transparent as it gets or colored in different ways. So sometimes you see just those as main compressor in mastering rigs. The next one is definitely a boutique tube compressor. Maybe not many will know about this one. Is the Neve Varimu 2. Hand built. I've never had the pleasure to use it because I think it's order only, but I do have a couple of friends that have it or had it. And the info that I have about this monster is that it's a very clean sounding tube unit that can be driven into soft clipping if needed, which sounds very interesting to me. It has a mid-side matrix on board, and it can also be customized with amorphous transformers for different color. Not a unit you see every day. I wanted to put it in this list for that reason, but worth mentioning because many mastering engineers love this compressor. Going on, I put here the Masselec ML4. This one is another standard in mastering rigs. You see Masselec gear all the time, the transfer console, the EQ, the compressors. Masselec gear, both compressors and EQ are almost ubiquitous in mastering studios. You always see at least one of them. The ML4 is basically the mastering standard multiband compressor. Still very much in use. It's a clean compressor. It gives you more control on the material than any other clean and transparent multiband analog compressor. It's an amazing de-esser and de-harsher. Again, this is another of those well-kept secret in mastering. This unit used as a de-esser and de-harsher in that way with a high band. Probably analog multiband compressors are maybe having a hard time right now because plugins do that job very well, but the Masselec gear, with the insane amount of headroom they have, and even though they are clean and transparent, they do impart a certain sound, which has been the standard for so long, so definitely this one had to be in the list. From a very transparent one to a little bit of color, the Thermionic Culture Phoenix. Some people wanted me to put this one in another video, I don't remember, but I left this one for the mastering video because the mastering version is, in my opinion, a lot better. I tried both. Originally, it was a MixBus compressor, loved in the EDM and electronic scene for the way it handles the low end. Thermionic basically made a mastering version, adding Helma switches to all the controls, so easy to recall and stereo match. This one doesn't have any special feature or any special controls. It's just a big, sweet 2B sound. Last one, I've only heard about it, is the Ox U23. And it goes for about 9K. I wanted to put this one in the list because it's definitely an exotic piece of gear. Pretty much everything on this all-tube compressor is handmade, custom made. Transparency is the name of the game for this one. I've never touched one of these units, so I have no idea how it sounds, but it's definitely a high-end piece. I will put the link down below. You can read about it and all that it goes into building one of these. I want to close this video with a special mention, which is the ER660, basically a reproduction, a high-end reproduction of the old Fairchild 660. It's often used in mastering, never used it one myself. Actually, I used a mono unit, I never used it in mastering, but it's definitely a sweet sounding unit. Everything screams quality on it. It's also priced accordingly, and you need two, but I just wanted to mention this one because you see it in mastering gears, and you also see the AER EQ, but that's for another video. This is it for this one. I hope you liked it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like. Check the info box down below before you go and leave comments down below. Let me know what your favorite compressor is. If I left something out that you used or heard of, go crazy in the comments. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time.